Hi, hello, and good morning. It is such a wonderful, wonderful Friday morning. I am so excited to be here with you. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I missed you guys on Tuesday. Oh my good God. It's so disorienting, because, we're doing this show on a Friday, but hey, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. It is such a wonderful Friday morning. I'm trying to say Friday when I want to say Friday and I'm saying Tuesday. It's so weird. But it's Friday, April 16th, and it's so wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for joining us once again. My name is Zoe Baraka, and the show is, as always, To My Younger Self. It's a show where we tell stories from our past that will propel us into the future. What do you know now that you wish that you knew when you were younger? What experiences have you gone through? What stories have happened in your life that have shaped your thoughts and the way you think about things, right? Hello, Ralia. It is so good to see you. How are you in hot, 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 hot Africa? All right. Again, my name is Zoe Baraka. Listen, I cannot see you as always, so please go into the comment section, say hello, say good morning. Let me know where you're watching us from. Ken, that is Kasal for welcome. Laawane, how are you doing? The Kenyans say karibu, karibu sana, ekabo. What language do you speak? I want to hear from you. Okay, wherever you are in the world, welcome. Good afternoon to those of you that is afternoon. Good morning here in America and other places where it's morning. Good night to those who are about to go to sleep. Thank you once again for joining us. All right, let me jump right in and introduce my guest storyteller today. He is a bag of so many things, and I'm going to try very hard to keep it very, very short. I am one of the luckiest people in the world because of this particular, people like this particular man that's about to come on the show. An amazing, 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 I'm not going to tell you the whole connection that I have with him, but amazing young man. His name is Mr. Emmanuel Sorogo. Emmanuel has almost 2 decades in international accounting. Do you know what that means? Oh my good God. He has been to almost half of all of the African countries and some other countries that are not based in Africa. He has been part of about 19 projects. He is a chief, well, I call him my chief accountant because he can do so many things with numbers that would blow your mind ridiculously. One of his, I guess, best sayings that I have heard Emmanuel say that has impacted my life personally is that the only way to return your power or to retain your power is to use it. My sister tells me that when she was much younger, she said a prayer. And that prayer was that I am looking for a husband. She said to God, please give me a husband like my father. And don't you know, God gave her a husband that is like her father, but then God added more to it. You know how that is? This is who this man is. He is an amazing father of 3 smart, intelligent, beautiful children who happen to be my nephews and niece. Today is such an honor because Emmanuel also happens to be this person, this man who is breaking barriers, not only in so many things, but also today. He is the first man to be on the show this year. So I am just so excited and I'm going to stop talking. I do that all the time. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to bring Mr. Emmanuel Sorogo from out of the green room. Okay? Hello.
Hi, Zoe.
Oh
Baraka.
my God. It has been a long time coming, Emmanuel, my chief accountant.
Thank you, Baraka. It's so exciting to be here, and I have followed your show quite well, and it's quite humbling to be part of this great work you're doing, touching lives and sharing lessons that touch many lives differently. Thank you. It's such a privilege.
Wow. Oh my God, Liliana. How are you doing, my dear, beautiful sister? So Liliana is the equivalent of Sumaya in America. This woman can disturb my life, but I love her to death, and I am so excited to have her here. Good morning, my beautiful sister. All right. I'm gonna defer all storytelling to you today. So you have the floor, as we say onto my younger self. Over to you, Mr. Sorogo.
Thank you, Baraka. And once again, it's good to be here. And hello to your wonderful listeners. And I would just like to re-echo something you said, that sometimes the relationships we build, we don't have an idea how much that can turn into some positive things in our lives. And I would like to start by a few days ago, I was reminiscing some of the things we went through growing up in primary school. And I'd like to share one before I go into the main story I'd like to tell today. So
Okay.
I was in class 3 back then. That was in the early 90s. And in the classroom, we had this very strict teacher who would want to make sure that all the people came in after break right on time. You couldn't miss a minute. And so in that process, I had a colleague of mine who came in very late, and so was going to be punished. And I wanted to have a glimpse of his punishment. And so, and so
I break this a little bit. How old were you at this point?
I think around 8, 9 years, I
Oh my
guess. But I have such a I'm a very curious person, and my wife knows this. Um, so in my being desperate to rejoice over another person's torture
calamities.
torture, if you like it, because this man was really very tough. So, but the only way I could go look at this guy who was going through the brunt of this teacher was to go tell the teacher that I wanted to use the bathroom. That is, if we had one back then. We did the free range. And so I walked to him, and I had to say this in English. And at class 3, it was tough growing up in the village. So I walked to him and said, "Teacher, I want to Yulobos." And
Wait. Yellow boy says you meant you wanted to urinate?
exactly, and I had gathered all the vocabularies in being able to ask for that permission.
Oh
And
my
and so the teacher looks at me, and he got mad at me and was like, "What did you say?" So at this point, I got a bit scared, and then I gathered some momentum again and said, "I want to Yolobos." And at this point, just when I had hardly finalized my sentence, I received a lash at my back, and
God. Wow.
that was that. I mean, and it was so tough those days growing up in the village. They believed that one of the ways to instill discipline was the cane. Don't spare the rod. And so at this point, in my frustration, I then had to switch to the language that I was comfortable in. I mean, the local language. And I said, "Teacher,
Which was what? Which language is?
Moshi,
Oh,
and then
wow.
so I quickly said, "Teacher, Nando de, I want to wee Nando de mene pable." So I want to pee, and why did you have to lash? And then so it became my nickname at the time in growing up in the village, and bad news can spread really very quick. So it became the talk of the school. This quickly got cut. I mean, people heard the news in the town, and it became my nickname growing up, and so they would see me and say, "Teacher Nando Day." And I was really surprised, because how could the news spread that quick from the school? Because these were people who were teasing me who were not even attending same school as me. But
Wow.
it was exciting. And I think the lesson I learned out of that is sometimes we feel like, and then on top of that, the teacher asked me to face the wall, because at this point at this point he wouldn't allow me to leave the classroom, because I had to receive some punishment for my inability to speak the English language.
Wow.
And so I had to face the wall for a few minutes. And so in my bid to rejoice over another person's calamity, my quite some time of my time was spent facing the wall, and I learned a lesson out of that, that
Wait,
if I
let
had
me
just,
backtrack with you. This
sure.
person that had this punishment, what kind of punishment was it that made you so curious?
So he went to get some rice during the break time,
Okay.
and because he came in late, he was rushing, and the teacher then asked him to go back and to actually tell him why he was late. He said, "Oh, he had bought some rice, and it was really very hot. So in his bid to finish quickly and come, he just couldn't, and he was late. So the teacher asked him to carry the hot rice. I mean, this is bad, really terrible. So he had to
We
carry
have
the
the
bowl.
rights.
Yes, so he had to carry the bowl of rice on his head, and the teacher asked him to sing a song, "Mana karam kakemui, mana karam kakemui," meaning
I love this so much.
"Mana karam kakemui, mana karam kakemui," which meant that I was going to be a more serious student and not pay attention to rice or
No, no, no.
eating.
So it means that I will learn and leave rice. I will learn.
Exactly, and
That's
leave
what it was.
rice. Thank you, thank you. I would learn and leave rice. I would learn and mana karam kakemui, mana karam, and and I wanted to see like the full, the full show, like they would say it. I didn't just want to,
Oh my God.
you know, and I ended up
Was he
getting
running around the compound of the school? Is that what it
in
was?
quite a number of times. So the teacher asked him to run around 5 times and keep singing, and that was actually what prompted my wanting to have a full sight of his predicament.
Oh
So I
my
kept singing
God.
"Mana karam kakemui, mana karam
Oh.
kakemui." It wasn't a pleasant sight. So I mean, basically, you don't rejoice over another person's predicament
Uh-huh.
because someone says that karma doesn't miss his address, and so it's important that when another person is struggling or when another person is in a bad shape, as much as possible, don't rejoice over their calamities because you don't have an idea what is in store for you.
Yes. Oh my God. What a funny, powerful story, though. Because
Right.
now I'm thinking, they should have called you. I went to Yellow Bows.
I went to Yellow Boss, and and interestingly, that guy didn't get the nickname Mana Karam Kakemui, but I
Yes.
got Teacher Mnandure. And so it left an indelible mark. It left an indelible.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. My stomach
yeah.
hurts from this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to change your name on my phone to I went to Yellow Bows.
Please don't. And then
Wow.
and to my story today, I would like to share something that has touched my life
Mhm.
professionally.
Wow.
And I think that as I grow in my accounting and finance space, working with different cross-functional teams within
Mhm.
the Africa region, especially in the non-profit space, I think that we all have a way we can touch the lives of others, and
Mhm.
those would come in handy. So back in 2011, I was senior grants and finance manager for one of the large US-based nonprofits in Ghana at the time. And our regional director for the Africa region was a Guinean American.
Mhm.
And one Monday morning, the regional director asked that if we had space for some interns because there was this gentleman, very bright, who wanted an opportunity for internship. And at the time, we really needed some additional hands. But I asked, I would prefer someone who could speak and write fluent English. But
Mhm.
but there was something in me that said, let's give this gentleman the opportunity. So I quickly
Mhm.
got him on board, oriented, and his performance was just sterling and outstanding. And so I gave him the opportunity. He was an intern, and I also think it added some diversity to the team
Mhm.
in terms of other cultural perspectives at the time.
Yes. Yes.
And fast forward, this guy served for like 1 year, and at the time He had 2 master's degrees, interestingly, even though a master's in finance and accounting and then one in economics. And so part of the reason he came was to intend to polish up his English skills and then also in the accounts and finance space. So he stayed with us for 1 year. And then at the end of his internship, he got an opportunity to travel to the US. And 10 years down the line, this gentleman joins another big nonprofit in the US, grew within throughout the ranks and became a CFO, a chief finance officer for one of the large US nonprofits. And this is the interesting part. So there was this other colleague of mine who was a senior finance officer that was on my team, and very hardworking as well, which is not uncommon about Ghanaians. And then by dint of his hard work, he was moved to the headquarters in the US for this nonprofit that I had also worked for. But at this time, I had moved on from this organization, and so this gentleman is now in the US and working for the organization where that I had worked with the Guinean, now Guinean American in the US. So he serves his contract in this organization, and he was looking for other opportunities to move on. And guess what? This gentleman who had served us about 10, who was with us for 10 years ago, sees my other colleague who now applying for a job in the same organization. So he picks the phone and he calls me and says that, Emmanuel, this former colleague of ours back in X company has applied for this job. I have shortlisted him, but I haven't informed him. And I believe he has the skills to be able to do the job. Fast forward, this guy who was an intern about a decade ago is now gave an opportunity to this other colleague of ours who we had worked with about 10 years ago. And he got the job. He's working under the intern, who was the intern about a decade ago, and I think that story touched me because, one, we gave him the opportunity. We treated him with respect.
To that guy at that time, when he was an intern, was he reporting to this person?
So this is the interesting thing. So he reported to, we had a matrix reporting structure. Okay. And so he reported to me and then another senior finance manager now, who is actually now the regional director for Africa for the organization where I've also moved on.
Wow.
And so we've kept this relationship. And all of a sudden, an intern who, because he was also assigned to this colleague, like you said, he was assigned to this senior finance officer at the time. So he basically mentored him at what point and gave him the opportunity during the onboarding. And this intern is now the supervisor or the boss of this person who also gave him the opportunity during the onboarding and as he grew in that space in this organization. And I would just like to say that the relationships we build, we don't have an idea how far and the currency that gives us. Okay. Had we turned this gentleman down, had we not treated him well when he joined us, I think that it would have been pretty clear at this point when this other colleague of mine was applying for the job. And so they are both in the US now in the same organization. The only difference is that the intern is now the CFO. And for a US and for a US nonprofit to recognize that level of skill and excellence, okay, to want to employ him, and he grew and became a chief finance officer, I think that, and now he's beyond that, he's also given an opportunity to somebody who's almost was like his supervisor at the time to grow in that space. I think it's just important that we recognize that, yes, we went to school together with people. Anytime we have these opportunities, it is important that we keep those relationships. It is important that we value those. It is important that we recognize that they come in handy. The tables can turn at any point in time, and we need those relationships. I have, and I can tell you another. I went to do a project in Liberia not too long ago, and there was this finance director who worked with, who gave me the opportunity to share some of the best practices that they had implemented, okay, on that project in Liberia.
Right.
A few years down the line, I am in Abuja leading a portfolio of projects, and this included one of our projects in Botswana. So this lady is looking for a finance director job, and he reaches out to me and say, "Oh, I have this test coming up for this job, and do you have an idea, samples of tests that we," and I'm like, "Wait, I shortlisted you for this opportunity. I'm sorry, I can't share those with you, but it's not, I believe in your skills, but I believe that you'll be able to do it." Long story short, she went through the process. I put in a word for her that I had met her and I believed in her skills. And long story short, she has the job and she's going to join us in Botswana. And I can countless examples of people that I have met in my professional journey at different times, and these relationships have just come in handy. And I think that we may not have thought about it, but like you said at the beginning of the show, the best way to keep your power, it's a key currency, but the best way to keep it is to use it. When you use it, you retain it. Yes.
That is amazing. Wow. Somebody had made a comment here that I feel like we should go back and visit. This is, first of all, you started the show with so much laughter. I'm trying to come back down and be serious. So bear with me. Steady, hi, welcome. Wow. Steady Num says that is awesome. The saying about those you meet going up will / may be the same people you meet on your way down. Being
Right.
kind and helpful to others go a long way. Wow, what a story. That is so amazing because he had 2 masters.
Yes.
And he was an
And he was an intern because he was looking for an opportunity to perfect. He was looking for an opportunity to perfect his English skills, but in a very practical way in the finance department, and then now he ends up being an employer of somebody who supervised him. Yeah.
That is amazing because first of all, it not only took gumption and a lot of courage to say I have 2 masters, because normally when you have 2 masters, you want the money and you have a little pride. Wanting to be an intern is not, one of the things, but also the fact that you guys took him in and just said, you know what, it's just come in and hang with us and we'll teach each other and all that. That is amazing. Wow. Another wise man who happens to be my father once said to me that the most important resource, the most important thing in the world is human resource and not money.
True.
So there's that right there. Human resource is the most important thing you can ever have. And that the story just kind of tells it all. Wow. There's so many.
I learned a lot from your dad. Amazing man. Amazing. I just can't say that enough about your father. And if he's watching, I just want to say that if all father-in-laws were like him, I think that some people would probably ask that the world doesn't end so they can have marriages for life. But I mean, I have an amazing father-in-law. Wow. And still talking about these relationships, I mean, nearly 16 years ago, my first job, I got it just because I supported a taxpayer professionally.
Wow.
Just because I supported a taxpayer. I was doing national service and the taxpayer came and there were issues with the taxpayer's payment. And out of my professionalism and just building that relationship and treating them with respect, I got a job out of that relationship. Wow. And I think that it is key. 50% of what would sustain you in the job or in your career or in your business, 50% of the time, yes, the strategies are important. Whether we're looking at strategic, tactical or operational issues, they are key. But the bigger part is the ability to build and maintain relationships. It is key, very, very key, and it will take you places.
This is so amazing. I want to just go down the line and say welcome to a few people because we missed that part. And then we'll come back to this fantastic storytelling. We did say good morning to Ralia already. Sumaya Sulemana, thank you so much for joining us. Audrey, oh my God. I have so much story to say about this woman, but I'm going to leave that for another time when when it is more impactful. But Audrey, thank you for joining us. This woman is an amazing connector. She is the epitome of this story you're telling, keeping
Awesome.
relationships and building on it. Human resource. I think she is one of the richest people I know in that regard.
Awesome.
Beverly Ross, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we did say good morning to Lily already. Foster, how are you, my dear brother, all the way from South Carolina? It is so good to see you. Of course, Bandiba Kobila is here. Good morning. Billy Joe, I see. Wow. Suyede Salifu is watching. Wow, Emmanuel, you are very, very important. It takes some big guns to get some big guns in here. Rita,
It's
how
hum
are you, my dear?
it's it's humbling, and I love them all.
Yes. Hendy Naomi, my African sister from another African country, Senegal. How are you, my dear? Funniest girl I ever met in my life. I love her. Thank you so much for joining us. Billa Joe, thank you for joining us. Asagi Gavin, it is good to see you. Lizzie, good to see you. You guys are amazing. Dixon, thank you. Oh my God, I haven't seen Dixon in a very long time. Akusia, thank you so much for joining us. You guys are amazing, amazing. I feel like you should tell another story because you have such an audience right now. But can it be funny?
Yeah, but I think that once we've started, I see people are really interested in this relationship conversation,
Mhm,
and I can go on and on and on and on. I have
mhm,
seen people I related to. I have Foster on the show.
mhm.
I met Foster. Foster, forgive me about what I'm about to say.
You
I met
always
Foster
come on.
when he was in class 5, and yes, that was when I met Foster. And
Wow.
Foster is doing his PhD today in the US. And
My
that
goodness.
relationship, we've just kept that relationship from class 5. You know, Foster is doing his PhD, and I can't mention how proud I am and how much I value that relationship. I have
Mhm,
Baptista on the call.
mhm.
Baptista was our HR manager when I worked in this organization, so she can confirm what I'm saying, you know.
Wow.
And we've just kept these relationships, you know. I think that it's important because no one tree can build a forest. No one tree can build
Woo, he's
a
dropping
forest.
gems today.
You know, so in our little corners, let's shine, but let's build relationships. I mean, it's not, I will not say that some relationships wouldn't be toxic. Yes, you would find a few of them, but they are usually the outliers. It's not the
Mm,
majority. You
yes.
know, it is
Wow.
key that we keep these relationships, whether
Yes.
it's in the space of building our businesses, whether it's in the space of, and let me tell you something interesting. So this gentleman who is now the CFO, the big brother works for, I would not like to mention the name of the organization, but I got to another country with my
Mhm,
family,
mhm,
and in a bit in a bit to settle down, I reached out to him and said, look, this is where I am now. Any leads, any contacts I'd like to build. And he says, oh, his big brother is the finance director for X, one of the multinational organizations. Oh, my big brother is the finance director. They reach out, whether you're looking for a house, whether you're looking for and
full
and that
circle.
just and that just came in handy, you know.
Wow.
So it is key. Let's build these relationships, let's keep them, because you don't have an idea. Just like a bank account, you're building credits, you don't
Mm,
have an idea when you need to go and withdraw out of that. And
mm,
so as you build them, as you build them, it's a deposit you are making.
mm.
One day you will be able to reach out and say, look, it is time to withdraw.
Wow.
And it is key that automatically, so let's keep these. Let's keep this. And interestingly, I had to switch careers a number of times, and I can tell you that each of the time I've had to switch careers, the people that I knew was so instrumental, because people would want to work with others they trust, you
Mm,
know. And
mm.
so these relationships you've built, and you never have an idea that that driver in that organization that you left a few years ago might be the one recommending you for the next
On the next
opportunity.
job. Wow.
You
Thank you
know that.
so very much. Wow.
My pleasure. Yeah,
This,
and it's
as you
good to
can
be here.
see, it's flying. The comments are flying. This statement is going to be a hashtag for the next couple of just dropped a gem without even knowing just how powerful this is. And also for you to say that the only way to retain your power is to
Is to
use
use
it.
it.
Isn't it
Don't keep
amazing
it.
how we
Don't
always
keep it.
think that the only way
Use
to
it.
keep power is to keep it when it's
Mm-mm,
actually to use it? Thank
mm-mm.
you so much for teaching us this morning, and actually for making the time, because I know your time is so precious. We've been trying so hard to kind of like maneuver all of this. Somebody said something here. I just wanted to real quick touch on it. Akosia Frimpong, she made a very important statement where it says, wow, this is good. Jesus is all about good relationships. Let me tell you, throughout his walk on earth, as you can see, he had 12 people surrounding him all the time, Jesus. But most importantly, everywhere he went, not only was he doing good, he was building relationships. He was
True.
always saying, what can I do for you? What do you
Right.
need? How can I
Right.
help? And if we
Right.
walk in this world like that, saying, sure, do you need help? I can help. What do you need me to do? How can I help you set up? How can I help you do this? It will always come back to you more than 3,000 fold. I think it was King Solomon that said, cast your bread upon the waters, and in due season you will find it. This is an
Right.
absolute. If you cast your power out there, it will always come back. What
Right.
a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way. I am speechless. I want to go back to laughing a little bit and call you Tita. I want to yellow boss. But
Yeah, sure. If you would like me to recap, I know some joined late.
yes, but they will go back and watch it. But
Yeah, yeah.
you have shared so many insightful things today. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate you taking the time to tell us a story. And I appreciate you also for breaking the hold of women, because women are the natural history keepers. We like to tell stories. So this whole year, the first quarter of the year on To My Younger Self, it has just been us doing our thing and talking. So welcome, and thank you for breaking that barrier and being the first man on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank you. And it appears it's a good way to say indeed you are gender sensitive. But I want to take some time. I mean, I know there are so many people watching, but I'd like to say thank you to my wife. I have the most beautiful woman in the whole wide world.
Okay.
Amazing woman.
Sure. Uh-huh.
I love her so much. She's just been super amazing. I can't say that enough. And I am so honored. And thank you.
Fine. If you have to go and do that, I guess we thank you, wife. Thank you for being an amazing wife. No, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. It's a very powerful thing when a man can actually sit on social media and declare to the entire world how much he loves his wife. So it takes a different kind of man to do that. That's the mark of a good man. So thank you, and we appreciate you. There's so many.
Yeah, I can see teacher I want to yellow boss,
I want to yellow boss.
and then teacher Mnandode. Teacher Mnandode.
Nandore. It's very
Yeah.
funny that most people don't realize what connection we have with the with Mori and Moshi, and especially those of us from the northern Pakistan.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
are Moshi people
Uh-huh.
originally, and so for you to even tell a story in that form brings so much
Yes.
uniqueness.
Uh-huh.
And I am
Uh-huh.
so excited that you did that. Thank you.
Man
Thank you so
man
much.
Mana karam kakemui. Mana karam kakemui. Mana karam kakemui. Thank you.
Oh my
And
God.
it's
Somebody here saying how much they love you. So sure. Okay. Akusha says, please keep going. Why? I think you should probably end this session with a funny story. I know you have one, and I am ready to laugh. I
okay. I am trying. I'm looking at the audience, and I'm trying to
don't look at
make
the
sure that
audience.
and
Just
and
tell us.
it's and I'm trying to tell one that is appropriate for our audience.
As
And
he's thinking about it, as you're thinking about it, let me just put it out here. This man is the same person who, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago, I had shared a story about a little boy who was saying affirmations all the time. Every morning he would say, I am blessed, I am a miracle, I am smart, I am intelligent, I am God's friend. This man is the person that taught this young boy how to say those affirmations. I just wanted to put it out there. Being a good father is important. Being a good steward of the children God gave you is important. Teaching them what to say about themselves is important. Indeed, this is teaching this young boy how to build relationships, not only with other people, but also with himself. So again, thank you. Do you have a story for us?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
I understand. There was this time a Catholic priest passed on and went to I mean, so it was clear that he was going to be judged.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets there, and there's a television set with all the deeds of everyone. And so he watches the deeds of the catechist, who used to be the recipient of all the stories and the holier than thou. So he's done, and the things he saw were quite. It was clear which side of where he was going,
Mm-hmm.
and then he took a glimpse of the other people who didn't make it to heaven, and he says, "Hey, Father, even you are here." Because the catechist was the one whose deeds were being telecast. So he said, "Father, even you are here." Then he said, "Oh no, keep quiet. Even the bishop is behind me." You know,
Mm-hmm.
so so he says that even the bishop is behind me. It just means that we should work out our salvation with fear and trembling,
Mm-hmm.
because we are not perfect.
Mm-hmm. You don't know who's going to be
we,
behind you
you,
right
you,
now, but
you are not perfect, and it is key that we don't play the holier than thou attitude, because even if the catechist who received and forgave people typically had
didn't make it.
his dark aspects, it also means that we cannot play the holier than thou.
Yes.
We fall and rise every day,
Wow.
and don't play the holier than thou attitude, because we all
Wow.
have our dark, yeah.
Look at you going and being deep when I was asking for a funny story. But anyway, you got it. Work out your salvation with fear
With
and
fear
trembling,
and trembling,
or
yeah.
else you might be behind the bishop. You never know. Okay. Somebody here says you should come back, Mr. Sorogo. You are an amazing storyteller. She says, God bless you. That's what Audrey says. Somebody also says here, yes, we should talk about how the affirmation helped him develop his mindset. So
Sure.
this is an invite that I'm going to give you for another day, because
Thank
we're
you.
38 minutes in. So yes, we're going to invite you to come back again. Audrey says again, yes, I thought he was the one once he started his story. Says, proud of you, sir. Great share. Someone
Got
advocate,
you.
please let him be back next week, please. We will try to work out that. I know Mr. Sorogo is a very, very busy man, and I've taken 8 minutes away from another meeting, I know, so, and he's being very gracious. So we're going to try to work it out. Thank you guys for hanging with us. It has been an amazing show because of you guys. And so I love you. I love you guys deeply. Thank you for just being with us on this journey of telling stories to our younger selves and learning from it. Let me ask you, who are you and where are you watching us from? Do you have someone who has powerful stories that will impact our lives? Do you want to tell a story? Reach out to us on to my younger self, and we can set something up. We're telling stories from all across Africa. This is a project, we're calling it Storytelling 360. We're going all across Africa, all the way from Algeria down to Zimbabwe. So please, if you know anyone who wants to tell a story on the continent of Africa that will glorify not that would glorify God in some way and will teach people how to be better people. We want to hear from those people, okay? There's so many exciting things going on in the background. As always, I'd like to take a few minutes to say thank you to my line producers and my underground line producers. Some people whose names are not here, but I do want to say thank you to Elsie Dixon, who is in Toronto. She's not live with us, but I know she'll be watching. Sedina Mavevo, who is in this side of the world with me, and of course, my ultimate line producer, Yidana Hamid Kobigbila. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing all of the hard work. Audrey, I thank you because let me tell you, she's doing some amazing work, and I'm about to put her name on here too. I know she's gonna kill me, but I appreciate you guys. Next week, Tuesday, we will not be on here because I don't want to crowd you guys too much. We're gonna break next week Tuesday, and we're coming back again the Tuesday after next week so that we can go back to regular programming, okay? And just stay tuned to the Dear Daughter page. On the 24th, we're going to be having the regular Dear Daughter show from the Red Sea Studios. We'll be discussing a Bible character. His name is Jephthah. I know I can't say it. I don't even know how we came up with it, but it's going to be an amazing time. It's going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I hope to see you there. Once again, my name is Zoe Baraka. Today in the studio with me has been the amazing Mr. Emmanuel Sorogo. Do you have some last words for us, Mr. Sorogo?
Thank you very much, Baraka. And it's been humbling to see the many people who have been listening to our conversation. I just want to say that we may not have had some time to take stock of the many friends that we didn't pay attention to in our relationship building process. Cast your mind back, whether it's the primary school, senior high, the tertiary, whatever. There are many people who consciously made efforts to build some relationships with you that you may have not paid attention to, you neglected at some point because you thought that they may not be able to give anything to you in return. You may want to cast your mind back how most of those people are doing, and you don't have an idea what if you just paid that, if you just gave that few minutes of your time to those individuals, how much that would have impacted in your life, or how much that would have impacted your life. I would say that we've spoken about what it means to build and keep these relationships. It is very critical. It is not too late yet, and I would just say revisit them, keep them. You can't be an island. You can't just be an island. Even God said that, come, let's reason together. So God recognizes partnership. Jesus Christ could have saved the entire world all by himself, but he still chose 12 people, even though one person betrayed. So those toxic relationships will still happen amongst the 12. You still have, but don't stop. He didn't stop building the relationship because there was a Judas, So it is important to build and keep relationships because you would need it one day. Money is good. It answered all the things, but God still said, come, let's reason together. When he needed to, he partnered. Even when he needed to move the people of Egypt, the people of Israel out of Egypt, he used a man. Okay.
So, I have
partnered with a man.
Emmanuel, being a critical thinker, I never pegged him to be a speaker. So I think that we have just discovered his another talent. We're going to try to shape him into a public speaker, motivational speaker, so to speak.
It is well. Yeah.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you. I am going to cut you short because let me tell you, I feel like Emmanuel could be preaching for days now. He's on the road. So we're going to be signing off. I appreciate you again. Guys, too much love for you. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep building relationships. Keep retaining your power by giving it away. And remember, you are not the one tree that will build the forest.
You need others.
You need others.
Okay? Thank you.
I love you. We all love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging with us. And from me and Emmanuel in the studio, I'm going to say, have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. All the best. Bye.
Bye.